how a robot moves, how it looks, how it sounds, ways it uses even things like LED lights. I'm Naomi Fitter. I'm an associate professor at Oregon State University, and I'm an expert at human-robot interaction. So human-robot interaction is important because even if you've designed the most technologically beautiful robotic system, if it's never encountered people before, the results when it first enters those human-populated spaces can be detrimental. It's important, for example, how it looks when it moves. This is one of my favorite robots, a Now robot. Its motion is relatively sleek. It matters how it sounds, what noises come out of it, and even have things like facial expressions. All of those design decisions about robots matter when they encounter settings with people, and people don't always consider this when they're designing robots in the lab. It matters a lot to adoption of robotic systems, if people actually use them, and how they feel about them, and even whether they trust them. The form of robots influences what people think as they're stepping up to a robotic system for the first time. If you look at this robot to one side of me, it's taller than this robot to the other side of me, and generally what we've found in my research is that robots that are larger will seem a little more intimidating, a little bit less warm. You could think about things like, small things being cute, small things being inviting. That's one general finding we've seen in my lab's work. One other thing to note is that a lot of robots are anthropomorphic. They look kind of like people. That's partly because, humans like humans. But other robots have different forms too. This robot that looks a little more like a R2-D2. I really love examples like this when robots get more abstract or even have organic materials like cotton as part of their composition. So in my lab's work, we look at some robots that are more humanoid, some that are less humanoid, and we like to think about even robots that might be abstract, like a vest that inflates and gives you the sensation of a hug. When I'm bringing robots into performing arts settings, even doing things like having robots perform stand-up comedy, I usually use robots that look more like this, humanoid robots. In that setting, it's a good choice for presenting things that people will be able to easily accept and understand. But in other settings, like some of the physical therapy settings with young children, I've used robots that actually look a little more like this. So something like a robotic vacuum cleaner with different custom hardware stacked on top of it. In that case, we made a custom robot of our own that had light, sound, and bubble-blowing modules as a few examples to be able to engage children in a way that was appropriate for them, that fit their needs and interests, just by iteratively testing and designing different robot prototypes for that setting. In settings with older adults, we found, at least with the skilled nursing facility that we work with most closely, the folks there like humanoid robots, so for that setting we're using humanoids too, but it matters a lot to visit settings, get to know populations that you'll be deploying robots with, and really understand end user needs and iterate to be able to deploy robot systems effectively, especially when you're thinking about human-robot interaction as research, but even broadly if you want people to use robotic systems that you're designing.